Today, I want to change how you speak to camera forever so you can finally start building the personal brand that you want that's going to build your business and allow you to live a life of freedom through speaking, through enjoying making content. This is what this is all about. Speaking equals freedom, at least speaking to camera. So how do we change this, right? Right now, you're probably stuck bringing out the worst version of yourself when you are recording. You stumble over your words, you feel awkward pausing, you feel anxious, you don't feel like yourself, hard to feel that connection with your audience, and therefore you might not be getting the results that you want. I want to show you a way of speaking that builds so much connection with your audience that it turns viewers into buyers. And this is exactly what is happening with my channel right now. My videos don't get very many views. If you want to flick through the views on my channel, go ahead. However, in the last 30 days, I brought in $46,000 in revenue from this channel. Now, this obviously isn't AdSense, it's through my high ticket coaching programs, but it just shows you this method of speaking builds trust and it builds connection, and it allows you to enjoy actually showing up on camera so you can finally start doing this regularly. The first thing you need to switch to really start building connection with your audience is not to speak at the camera, it's to speak through the camera. Visualize your words landing with your audience rather than talking at this robot in this room. This is going to allow you to have a human touch, a human feel to how you're talking, and to start building a relationship with your words. You might have found that when you're in conversation, your words land. You can allow your best self to shine through because there is a connection there. But when you speak on camera, suddenly it all falls flat and you're talking like a robot. Why is that? It's because you've lost that connection. So you need to rebuild that connection in your mind and start talking to somebody through the camera. Now, this next thing will make or break whether this whole method actually works for you or not. Because you can be talking to your best friend or ideal customer through the camera. But if you're not doing this, then you still risk your videos coming across as boring and not actually being engaging. And this is what I call the transmission method. The trick here is to raise your level of consciousness before you talk to camera. Now, before you call me a woo-woo, all right, Mr. Woo-woo, instead, even if you don't believe in this higher level of consciousness stuff, still listen to this point because it will work, all right? This isn't just about the spiritual aspect of what I'm talking about. This also has very practical effects. So hear me out. Just before you talk to camera, you can either show up as your best self, or you can show up sort of average, meh, maybe a bit unengaging. The difference here is whether you use the transmission method or not, whether you raise your level of consciousness before you speak to camera. There's a guy called David Hawkins. I think he's Dr. David Hawkins. He wrote a book called Letting Go, and he mapped out levels of consciousness in this diagram here. What you want to try and do is temporarily, because you won't be able to do this permanently just in a couple of minutes, temporarily boost your level of consciousness before you speak. This will allow your best self to show up and not your average or worst self if that happens to you when you talk to camera. So what you're going to want to do is feel into your body. Feel any resistance that is coming up right now. Feel any emotions that are coming up and simply let them go. Once you do this, this will level you up a couple of levels of consciousness, meaning that when you speak to camera, you will be raising the level of consciousness of the viewers who watch your videos. You'll temporarily make them feel good. You'll make them feel like they've just watched something that's elevated them rather than giving them a crash, and they'll want to come back more and more to your content. It's very simple. Imagine that you watch the content of somebody who's just having a bad day but not just being vulnerable and clean and clear about them having a bad day. They're not even saying it and they're just in this sort of fuzzy headspace. You're not going to enjoy their video as much as if they've just been in a cold plunge in the ocean, had an amazing time with friends, and really reflected on life, fresh, had a shower, made a video, right? In that headspace. It's very different, all right? That's a completely different version of you. And so instead of going for a cold plunge, you can simply let go of some of your emotions to raise your level of consciousness before you talk to camera. The whole technique of letting go can be summed up from a quote from Carl Jung, who says, "What you resist persists, and what you accept transforms." Meaning that if you want to show up on camera and become positive, become charismatic, become confident, and by trying to do that, you're resisting what you're actually feeling, which is scared, nervous, anxious, then all of those negative emotions are going to persist and your audience will be able to tell that you are faking it. However, if you let go and you let go of these emotions, you go in, you temporarily do some inner work. It takes about 5-10 minutes to just go in and feel what's going on beneath the surface, to accept what's going on. Then that will start to transform. This doesn't mean that if you feel sad, you have to accept your sadness and then make a really sad video. It means that if you're feeling sad, you need to go in and accept your sadness, which will then dissolve and leave you with a clean blank slate, and your level of consciousness will be higher than before. Now, not only will your audience feel this shift, you will also speak better in this state. You will be more present, you will be more clear, your mind and body will be aligned so that everything that you say will land and feel clear to you. This is the opposite of having that crazy, foggy mind that when you try and speak to camera, your ideas and words are jumbled all over the place, you're going down rabbit holes and you can't stay on track. You will have way more mental clarity once you've processed and accepted the emotions that are lying beneath the surface. And this is why I call it the transmission method, because it's a clear line of transmission between you and your viewer. There's no emotional garbage in the way, and you can just say what's on your mind, and it's way more likely that it's going to land. Now, obviously, when you make videos, you want to have a plan. You don't want to just be completely going off the cuff, because even if you're transmitting, you need to be saying something, right? And something that makes sense. And I use a method called the anti-script planning method. There's a free template in the description. You can download that, make a copy of it, and then use that to plan out your next video in a way that will actually turn your viewers into buyers. So using that template, I would recommend the following process. First, plan out your video, take an hour, get your points in order, get something to share that you're excited about. Then do the letting go technique. Just simply go into your body and accept the emotions that are going on right there. Feel into any areas of sensitivity, any areas of numbness, any areas of aliveness, and just allow those to be, accept them, and they will transform. Then once you start getting a feeling of having a blank slate, press record and don't speak to camera, transmit to your ideal viewer. If you want to learn exactly how in detail to plan out your videos so you can speak off the cuff without a script, watch this video next.